I am too intelligent, too demanding, and too resourceful for anyone to be able to take charge of me entirely. No one knows me or loves me completely. I have only myself. I am awfully greedy. I want everything from life. I want to be a woman and to be a man, to have many friends and to have loneliness, to work much and write good books, to travel and enjoy myself, to be selfish and to be unselfish. You see, it is difficult to get all which I want. And then, when I do not succeed, I get mad with anger. She was ready to deny the existence of space and time, rather than admit that love might not be eternal. I am incapable of conceiving infinity, and yet I do not accept finity. I want this adventure, that is the context of my life, to go on without end. One's life has value so long as one attributes value to the life of others. One is not born, but rather becomes a woman. When I was a child, when I was an adolescent, books saved me from despair. They convinced me that culture was the highest of values. In itself, homosexuality is as limiting as heterosexuality. The ideal should be to be capable of loving a woman or a man, either, a human being, without feeling fear, restraint, or obligation. That's what I consider true generosity. You give your all, and yet you always feel as if it costs you nothing. Her wings are cut, and then she is blamed for not knowing how to fly. A man attaches himself to a woman, not to enjoy her, but to enjoy himself. On the day when it will be possible for woman to love, not in her weakness, but in her strength, not to escape herself, but to find herself, not to abase herself, but to assert herself. On that day, love will become for her, as for a man, a source of life and not of mortal danger. When she does not find love, she may find poetry. Because she does not act, she observes, she feels, she records. A color, a smile awakens profound echoes within her. Her destiny is outside her, scattered in cities already built, on the faces of men already marked by life. She makes contact, she relishes with passion, and yet in a manner more detached, more free than that of a young man. Being poorly integrated in the universe of humanity and hardly able to adapt herself therein, she, like the child, is able to see it objectively. Instead of being interested solely in her grasp on things, she looks for their significance. She catches their special outlines, their unexpected metamorphoses. She rarely feels a bold creativeness, and usually she lacks the technique of self-expression. But in her conversation, her letters, her literary essays, her sketches, she manifests an original sensitivity. The young girl throws herself into things with ardor because she is not yet deprived of her transcendence. And the fact that she accomplishes nothing, that she is nothing, will make her impulses only the more passionate. Empty and unlimited, she seeks from within her nothingness to attain all. To lose confidence in one's body is to lose confidence in oneself. No one is more arrogant towards women, more aggressive or scornful than the man who is anxious about his virility. Man is defined as a human being, and woman as a female. Whenever she behaves as a human being, she is said to imitate the male. What an odd thing a diary is. The things you omit are more important than those you put in. One's life has value so long as one attributes value to the life of others by means of love, friendship, and compassion. All oppression creates a state of war, and this is no exception. I tore myself away from the safe comfort of certainties through my love for truth, and truth rewarded me. Few tasks are more like the torture of Sisyphus than housework. With its endless repetition, the clean becomes soiled. The soiled is made clean, over and over, day after day. Representation of the world, like the world itself, is the work of men. They describe it from their own point of view, which they confuse with absolute truth. I was made for another planet altogether. I mistook the way. The body is not a thing, it is a situation. It is our grasp on the world and our sketch of our project. If you live long enough, you'll see that every victory turns into a defeat. Regardless of the staggering dimensions of the world about us, the density of our ignorance, the risk of catastrophes to come, and our individual weaknesses within the immense collectivity, the fact remains that we are absolutely free today if we choose to will our existence in its finiteness. A finiteness which is open to the infinite. And in fact, any man who has known real loves, real revolts, real desires, and real will knows quite well that he has no need of any outside guarantee to be sure of his goals. Their certitude comes from his own drive. If the feminine issue is so absurd, it is because the male's arrogance made it a discussion. Change your life today. Don't gamble on the future. Act now, without delay. I wish that every human life might be pure, transparent freedom. Two separate beings in different circumstances, face to face in freedom and seeking justification of their existence through one another, will always live an adventure full of risk and promise. What would Prince Charming have for occupation if he had not to awaken the sleeping beauty? She would never change, but one day, at the touch of a fingertip, she would fall to dust. My life was hurrying, racing tragically towards its end, and yet at the same time, it was dripping so slowly, so very slowly now, hour by hour, minute by minute. One always has to wait until the sugar melts, the memory dies, the wound scars over, the sun sets, the unhappiness lifts and fades away. Capabilities are clearly manifested only when they have been realized. Fathers never have exactly the daughters they want because they invent a notion of them that the daughters have to conform to. To catch a husband is an art. To hold him is a job. Be loved, be admired, be necessary, be somebody. It is in the knowledge of the genuine condition of our lives that we must draw our strength to live and our reasons for living. In a way, literature is truer than life. On paper, you say exactly and completely what you feel. How easy it is to break things off on paper. You hate, you shout, you kill, you commit suicide, you carry things to the very end, and that's why it's false. But it's damn satisfying. In life, you're constantly denying yourself, and others are always contradicting you. On paper, I make time stand still, and I impose my convictions on the whole world, and they become the only reality. Sex pleasure in women is a kind of magic spell. It demands complete abandon. If words or movements oppose the magic of caresses, the spell is broken. No one would take me just as I was. No one loved me. I shall love myself enough, I thought, to make up for this abandonment by everyone. Formerly, I had been quite satisfied with myself, but I had taken very little trouble to increase my self-knowledge. From now on, I would stand outside myself, watch over and observe myself. In my diary, I had long conversations with myself. I was entering a world whose newness stunned me. I learned to distinguish between distress and melancholy, lack of emotion and serenity. I learned to recognize the hesitations of the heart and its ecstasies, the splendor of great renunciations, and the subterranean murmurings of hope. I entered into exalted trances, as on those evenings when I used to gaze upon the sky full of moving clouds behind the distant blue of hills. I was both the landscape and its beholder, I existed only through myself and for myself. My path was clearly marked. I had to perfect, enrich, and express myself in a work of art that would help others to live.